Texas Longhorns 2024 season is in the books. Overall, it was a very entertaining season. And overall, I would say the Texas Longhorns had quite a good season. Of course, when we're talking about the semis, we're talking about the Cotton Bowl, it comes down to two different series that were the make or break points for the Longhorns. The first, obviously, the defensive lapse at the end of the first half. It was a freebie, 7 points for Ohio State. That turned out to be the difference in the game. Series 2, and equally as obvious, was the goal line situation at the end of the game for Texas. Of course, had the defense not given up that 7 points before halftime, we're probably looking at a 14-14 game, at which point Texas could have just kicked a field goal, gone up by 3 points, and let the defense try and win the game for them. But I think there's a bigger point to make in all of this. Everyone sees those two series as the make or breaks for the Cotton Bowl. But there's something more fundamental we have to realize and discuss. And that is, Texas could not establish the run once again. During the regular season loss against Georgia at home, during the loss in the SEC title game to the Bulldogs in Atlanta, and once again in the overtime victory in the Peach Bowl against Arizona State, Texas struggled to establish the run in all three of those games. And we saw that happen again in the Cotton Bowl. Against Ohio State, Texas was held to a measly 58 yards of rushing. And here's the kicker. They attempted rushes on 29 different occasions. So that produced a 2 yards per rush average. And I don't care who you are, that is not going to get you where you want to go as a college football team. If you want to win the SEC, if you want to win the national championship, you've got to be able to run the ball. Because when you can establish a run, you have a little bit of margin of error. You don't have to play a perfect game because you're a fully dimensional offense at that point. And unfortunately, in their 3 losses this season, Texas was very one-dimensional. Now, if you take a look at the talent on the offensive line in 2024, this was a talented O-line. These weren't just a bunch of scrubs out there. And so it becomes a little bit puzzling as far as why Texas could not establish the run in key moments during the season. And I think one just has to believe at this point that it is a scheme issue that is to blame. The talent was there. A lot of those guys are moving on to the NFL in the next few months. So I don't think it was a talent issue. In my estimation, it was schematic. And that's something that just has to improve for 2025. Now, given the talent that is remaining on this team, and keeping in mind how good of a recruiter Steve Sarkisian is, I don't have any doubts about the quality of players that Texas will put on the field in 25. I don't think there's going to be any problems whatsoever there. It's not a rebuilding year. It is a reloading year. My main concern, though, is can the Longhorns establish the run? If they can run the ball at will in 2025, the sky is the limit. If they cannot run the ball, though, Texas will be very fortunate to get into the college football playoffs and the SEC title game once again. Now, that was my 2 cents on what's coming up in 2025. Before I go, I want to give a big shout out to all the seniors and all the players who left for the NFL and say a big, heartfelt thank you. You made this season of Texas Longhorns football extremely fun to watch and very enjoyable. It was a roller coaster ride. There were some thrills, there were some chills, there were some disappointments, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. I thank you and I thank the coaches and everyone else in the athletic department for UT. You made it one hell of a 2024. And here's to making 2025 even better. Having said that, this is Kevin saying, hook 'em horns, God bless you, and I'll talk to you later.